Anyway, we went to the Cine Club on Wednesday night. They were showing Hugo. For those who aren't familiar with the Cine Club, it's a service that the university offers, not just for media students, it can be for anybody, just to go and watch a film Wednesday afternoons. The films are all selected by students, they encourage suggestions, and I'm sure we'll tell you how you can do that after we talk to John Paul Green.
Yeah, Cine Club is it's a space for film lovers, film enthusiasts to come along, to enjoy the film, to talk about the film. And the real bonus with Cine Club, particularly for students, is that they get a chance to nominate a film. They get to choose a film that they will then introduce, we watch, and then discuss afterwards. We often ask students to choose films that perhaps aren't particularly current, or certainly not in the mainstream. We like films that are slightly perhaps left field, films that are provocative, films that are challenging, or films that students are just passionate about and they want other people to watch them. I think that's the key. Choosing films that other people should watch.
Just on a sort of general film level, do you think there's still room in Hollywood for the sort of things like Hugo, which we've just seen today?
I mean, luckily I think there is still a space for independent cinema, for example, or films that kind of go against the grain. You know, not very often, and unfortunately I don't think they get much help with the multiplexes that seem just to kind of regurgitate the same type of film, and also they don't keep it on for very long. And I think with the number of screens that the multiplexes have, there surely should be a space for an alternative cinema, a more progressive cinema, an independent cinema, certainly. And I think that's what Cine Club at least offers, an opportunity for staff and students, of course, to see films that wouldn't perhaps get a big screening at the multiplexes, the ones that appear for a day and disappear. Well, I'm constantly surprised by the type of choices that students make. There have been a few standout films, a lot of kind of European cinema that have opened my eyes. There's so many. We've been running Cine Club for so long. Last year the big one for us was Under the Skin, which I hadn't seen. It passed me by, and that was just fantastic. But I'm just constantly surprised by the choices and the reasons that students are choosing them as well. Sometimes they're very personal reasons. Sometimes students think, oh, this film's really challenging, and I want to share it with people. I want to get their feedback. And I think that's the beauty of Cine Club, to get that instant feedback on a film. You know, often people go to a cinema, watch the film, walk out, forget about it. Here we get that instant reaction. You know, the likes, the dislikes, the commentary about the film. It's really good. Now, Cine Club's open to all students across the university. You know, we welcome the attendance, we welcome their suggestions as well. You know, I think the more eclectic group of students we get, the more eclectic choice of films we'll have. You know, and I think that makes for a really rewarding season of films, because that's what we're effectively doing. It's kind of a mystery season of films, and that's where the kind of randomness comes in. And I think that's the joy of Cine Club, is that we can, you know, cross the genres in a space of 10 weeks. We can have, you know, an American film sat next to a Brazilian movie. You know, then we could jump back to Britain perhaps, and then we'll have an Icelandic film. It can be that random, and that's what makes it so interesting, because it's not predictable. And I think, again, that's another key to Cine.
So next week you're showing Pride. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about Pride?
Yeah, Pride's a fantastic film. It's kind of in that tradition of the British social realist comedy, I suppose in the vein of Billy Elliot and Brassed Off. You know, it's based on a wonderful moment, and potentially a dark moment, in 1980s Britain, where the miners who were obviously striking suddenly find they have this support from for the miners, the most unusual camp. But the idea is that, you know, that as the miners suddenly get this wonderful support from a lesbian, gay and bisexual group in London who, you know, champion their cause, and it's a kind of clash of cultures almost, but it has that feel-good factor as well. So while it's, you know, the backdrop is very serious, very political, that wonderful knack of British film to make it very palatable, you know, and interesting. And I think students are going to get an awful lot out of Pride. It's a little bit of social history, and it's a lot of fun as well.